Hello and welcome to Growing Older and Wiser. I'm Krista Gibson. I guess, your guide in this. Anyway, I have something I want to mention to you today. We're talking about growing older and growing wiser. And I always try to think of things what would be of interest and what do I think would be something that would help you, as well as myself, gain wisdom while we age. And I asked somebody, I said, what would you like me to talk about? What would you like me to write about? And she said, write about music. And I said, well, what do you mean? I mean, most of us listen to music. She said, no, talk about how people can learn an instrument. And I went, oh my goodness, that is so true. So I've been thinking about it for the last 24 hours in terms of, well, what do I want to say to you about music? Now, I'm going to make the assumption that most, if not all of you watching this, already listen to music, have your favorite kinds of music that you enjoy. So I'm not talking about that, although I think the more music we have in our lives that we listen to and feel into, the better. Some of you I know sing. Some of you I know already play instruments of one kind or another. For all of you, I say, keep doing it and maybe consider how you can expand your involvement with music in your life as you're growing older. For those of you who maybe listen to music or have a cursory interest in music but don't really play an instrument or anything like that, here is something for you to consider, and those of you who already do this can consider it as well, and that is learning to play an instrument that you don't already know how to play. So one of the easiest instruments, well, there's two of them I'm going to suggest to you that are learned fairly easily. And one is the auto harp, which I only learned about. I never knew about that as a child. Apparently, that's a very popular instrument. But the auto harp is one that is very easy to learn. Some auto harps are a little heavy, but you can lay them on a table or on your lap. So the first instrument would be the auto harp. And the second, which is getting more and more popular, is the ukulele. And it's not that hard to learn, although I myself have tried several times and I just don't resonate. But I know a lot of other people who do, and they swear by their ukuleles. In fact, in Washington State, I know at least one senior center that has a ukulele group. And they meet once a week and they're given music, chords to learn for the next week. And they have one person who kind of leads the group. They get together and have a jam session for several hours once a week. And they have formed relationships. This goes way beyond just learning the instrument. It goes way beyond learning music. This is about community. It's about lifting yourself up emotionally. It is about learning to express yourself in a different way than perhaps you've done in the past. Now, some people resonate with the piano or the organ or the flute. Whatever it is, if you take the time and make the effort to get involved with a musical instrument and learn to play it, what you're going to find is a brand new way to express yourself when you want to express your feelings, happy, sad, glad, angry. Also, a way to comfort yourself. When something's going in your life that's making you sad or, unhappy or depressed or whatever, if you can turn to music, your own making music, as well as listening to it, but I'm really talking about making music yourself. If you can turn to that, what you'll find is that you will touch a whole different level within yourself that will help you express, release, whatever the feelings are, and allow them to move on out into the universe. Now, some senior centers, and I mention this because wherever you live, I'm sure there's at least one senior center, if not more. Frequently, they have groups that get together that you don't even have to know beans about music. The senior center that I directed for a while, we had two musical groups. One of them would do performances several times a year, and they were a little more serious about music. And there was somebody who played on the piano, and occasionally they would get other instruments to come in and help them. Most of the people in that group could sing, and, were able to learn the music. The other group, though, was for everybody. You didn't have to know how to sing or read music or be good at anything. Just show up. And they would share sheets of music, and the group would sing, and they would have different drums and marimbas and things like that people could play. And they just made, was it in the Bible, make a joyful noise unto the Lord? They made a joyful noise, lots of joyful noise, and they had a blast. Some weeks they sounded pretty good, other times not so much, but they weren't doing it to sound good. They weren't doing it as a performance. They weren't doing it for anybody but themselves. They had fun. They built relationships with each other, and they had a good time. If you don't want to learn to play an instrument, or for one reason or another, just don't feel like you can, maybe your hands, you have arthritis, or it's difficult, think about finding a fun group that you could go with, and even if you just hum along, but a group that's open. Now, what if there is no group at a senior center or somewhere else close to you? Then I say start one. I have started more groups because I couldn't find what I wanted. I thought, okay, nobody's doing it, I will. So you decide what you want, and you go to the senior center or the church, wherever it is that you want to approach, whoever it is that you want to approach, and say, hey, I would like a group that does this and so, and there isn't one that exists. Can I start one here? And will you back me on it? Will you advertise it through your newsletter? Will you tell people about it? Tell them what it is you want to do. 9 times out of 10, they will love you. They want groups. They want things happening. And if you're willing to come in and take that on and be the leader, they will back you from here to Sunday. So, a wonderful way to add more wisdom to your life as you age is through music and all the different ways that you can experience music. Listening to it, making it, singing along with it, starting groups about it, whatever. But allow music to become, if it's not already, become a really important part of your life and a way to express yourself. And if you're already involved with music, take it to the next level. And I don't know what that is. Move it to the next level for yourself and see what happens. All right. And if you do something like that and you join a group that records sometimes, send me a link. I'd love to listen. All right. Take care. See you next week.